Hello, scholars. Today we get to talk about the exciting topic of clauses. What is a clause? A clause, quite simply, is a group of words that has a subject and a verb. These are the two things that we're looking for to make a clause, subject and a verb. Determining clauses in Section 3 of your DGP is far simpler than we often realize. All we need to do is look at what we have in Section 2. Depending on the number of subjects and verbs you have, well, that's going to determine the number of clauses you have. After that, it's just a matter of determining if clauses are independent and dependent. And I'm going to give you the rule that will never, never let you down. Well, first of all, every sentence has one independent clause. So if you have a sentence and we find a subject and verb in it, and there's only one subject and verb, or there's one of either. You might have two subjects and one verb, or one subject and two verbs. But if you don't have two subjects and two verbs, well, you don't have two clauses, because every clause has to have a subject and verb. So as soon as we finish Section 2, you should automatically know how many clauses you have. Now, in determining whether it's independent or not, I do not want you to rely on that old rule, which is it can stand on its own. Lots of things can stand on their own that are not clauses, and they sound like they can because we speak in fragments very often. For example, when you ask your parents, "Why can't I go?" their answer is going to be, "Because I said so." And in their mind, that is a complete thought. However, grammatically speaking, it's a dependent clause. Because is a subordinating conjunction, and that's going to make it a fragment. But I would advise you not to tell your parents that when they tell you that. So stay with strict grammar. If it begins with a subordinated conjunction or relative pronoun, it is a dependent clause. Simple as that. And if it does not begin with a subordinating conjunction or relative pronoun, it is not a dependent clause. It is an independent clause. And that is the only rule that I want you to ever reference. Please don't ever mention anything about things standing on their own. A dependent clause, again, begins with a subordinated conjunction or a relative pronoun. If you are good. Here you've got a subject and verb, you are. The if is going to make it a dependent clause. Now, once we have established the kinds of clauses we have in a sentence, there are 4 sentence types that you need to get down. The first is a simple sentence. It just has one independent clause. The second is a compound sentence. You have 2 or more independent clauses. Generally, they're joined by a coordinating conjunction, but as we'll learn later, they could also be joined by a semicolon. I like juice, comma, and Santa likes milk. That is one of the fanboys, the coordinating conjunctions, and that's what makes it a compound sentence. A complex sentence.
Mr. Line, stop 221, please. Mike Line, stop 221.
We have one independent clause plus any number of dependent clauses. The key is that there's only one independent clause. So I like juice because it is healthy. I like juice is your independent clause. Because is the subordinating conjunction. It is healthy. Moves on from there. And then finally, when you have 2 or more independent clauses plus any number of dependent clauses, that's when you have a compound complex sentence. I like juice because it's healthy. There's your independent, dependent, and, comma, coordinating conjunction. He likes milk, another independent clause, because it is cool, another dependent clause. Okay, that should get you through clauses.